Recently, Human Rights Watch released a report critical of worker conditions on some South African wine farms. With me in studio today is Matome Mbatha, Wines of South Africa Market Manager for the Americas and Africa, to respond to this report. Welcome, Matome.
Thank you.
Now, a Human Rights Watch report recently catalogued abuse such as poor sanitation, exposure to pesticides and inadequate housing in the wine industry in South Africa. What is Wines of South Africa's response to this report?
Well, thanks, Shannon. I think it's imperative that we also given an opportunity to give our side of the story. It is unfortunate that at this day and age, 17 years into democracy in South Africa, we still hear of such reports, of abuse of workers in the farms. It's very disappointing. However, in response to this, Wines of South Africa has issued out a statement to clarify, the imbalances of the report itself, in terms of it has not been verified independently with other farm workers as well as their employers. And we find it to be unfair that this report has come out, and therefore would like to challenge the author of the report to come forward and give us the names of the people that have actually are culprits to this effect, as would like to take them on. It's quite disturbing, and I must say, Wines of South Africa is really concerned, feels sad about this whole situation.
Now, according to the report, farm workers' salaries are among the country's lowest, with minimum wages at 1,400 Rand a month, and some women receiving less. How do you respond to that?
Again, it's quite disturbing, because farms under Wosa, in terms of farms in the wine industry, need to comply with the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. And that's also well in operation within the guidelines of the basic salaries. And it's unfortunate that there would be such practices still, where democracy is supposed to balance and find fairness in everybody's conditions. Therefore, again, let's see who these people, who are the culprits are. Let's address them accordingly.
Does this DOP system in South Africa still exist? I mean, are some people still paid in wine?
The DOP system, which is also known as the TOT system back in the day, was a system in which people were paid with the rations of wines. And in the 1960s, it was outlawed, but was never enforced. But in the 2007, it was abolished completely, and it was tabled in the government and adopted in Parliament in South Africa. And it's non-existent again if any of the wineries are still involved in this malpractice of abusing their employees and paying them through these rations. It's illegal. They should be brought forward and be dealt with. And if there are such cases, be reported to the police.
Now, based on those facts, has the wine industry taken any action with regard to fetal alcohol syndrome?
The South African wine industry has established a system and an organization through which this is being addressed by training people and teaching them about the dangers of abusing alcohol during pregnancies. One of the organizations, which is an NGO, is funded by Wosa, and as well as other organizations, in ensuring that there is no such abuse of alcohol during pregnancy. In the same breath, it's something that we condemn strongly, and we try and teach people in our communities as well as our workers in the wine farms not to engage in such abuse of alcohol. So we have systems in place. There are campaigns that are run through the FAS facts and organizations such as Pebbles, which are very critical in ensuring that people are getting trained and are aware of how to then handle alcohol.
If people are abusing alcohol, and it's sort of like being termed the DOP system, are there ways of preventing people from obtaining such large quantities that will sort of lead to the abuse?
Even further to it, the industry even went as far as abolishing and getting rid of the PAPSAC system. Because yes, there was an identification of that, even with this FAS affects organizations and NGOs that were out there to ensure that there is no abuse of alcohol. There was still a continuation of it, and through the PAPSAC. So the industry said further to that, we get rid of the PAPSAC system, and there is no such. So constantly we sensitize communities, we sensitize workers to ensure that they are aware of these things and they don't carry on in such practices, and therefore reduce access of bulk wine that is being given to them in that format.
The report not only challenges the wine industry, but also alleges that the Department of Labour Inspectorate is not effective in preventing worker abuse. What is your response?
Wines of South Africa stands at the point of saying we want to see cooperation by everyone in ensuring that we work closely together. Let there be systems that ensure that there are no such practices and abuse of human rights by anybody out there. Having said that, we call on everybody that is involved in any of the industry sectors to ensure that there is no such abuse, and therefore say the Labour Department should also be put to test. Let these culprits who are actually involved and engaged in such acts be brought forward. And again, if you feel and it's said that the department is not doing enough as it should, that should be evidence enough to say something has got to be done. But we work closely with every party involved in ensuring that there is no such abuse.
Now, how important is the wine industry in South Africa's economy?
This is an industry sector that contributes 26 billion into the country's GDP. So it's a very, very important industry sector. 7 billion actually is mainly from exports. 4 more billions is from the wine tourism. So it's quite a critical industry sector. And it's very important that we need to cushion it in such a way that we see this growth. We currently employ over 275,000 people in the Western Cape. So it's a very important industry sector. And we should at all times work closely with everybody, as I put it, in ensuring that we work towards making it work for everybody and grow beyond these very figures that I've given you. It's got that potential. It's an important industry sector.
Now, what actions is the wine industry going to take with response to correcting the issues that this report has alleged have taken place, and what will you do to counteract the negativity?
We've already started sending out the press release, and we've sent out a statement in ensuring that we explain the other side and give the facts about what's happening out there. As I put it earlier, it's rather unfortunate that there's still such practices which are known. And what would work best is that as I call for cooperation, even with the author of the report, to come forward and give us the names of the wineries that she claims that are involved in this, so that they can be investigated. These are corrective measures which are very objective. These are corrective measures, constructive. It sometimes doesn't help much to just do criticism from one side and not give facts. Work close with us. Let's look at what can be done, and let's take drastic steps towards ensuring that this does not happen any further. As I put it, we're in a democratic country. We should be able to take pride in knowing that we redress the imbalances of the past. And indeed, such actions would help if only the reporter could come forward and give us the names.
Well, thank you very much for your side of the story.
Thanks to you.
Donate now and give 15 Rand a month. SMS JOIN to 41486.